Dombi Wari, or Dombi's Pond. Long ago in the lush green hills of Garo, there lived a woman named Dombi, known for her unmatched beauty, and her devoted husband Zoring, a strong and proud man from the Rima clan, had fallen in love with Dombi when they were both young. Dombi was admired not only for her beauty, but also for her kindness and grace. Zoring was incredibly proud of her. He loved to boast to his friends about how no one could match Dombi's beauty. He always spoke about her with so much pride and admiration. Dombi, on the other hand, loved Zoring deeply. But as the years went by, she began to feel the weight of all the attention her beauty brought. People would constantly admire her, and she could never go anywhere without someone commenting on her looks. While Zoring's praise made her feel special, it also made her feel like her worth was only in her appearance. She wished for a quiet life where she could be seen for who she truly was, not just for her beauty. Still, she stayed strong, loving Zoring and their children with all her heart. One day, while Zoring sat by the river with his friends, speaking about Dombi's beauty once again, his words reached the ears of a merman who lived in the deep waters of the wrong river. The merman had heard many stories of Dombi and her beauty, and they intrigued him. He had lived a lonely life in the river, hiding from humans, and his curiosity grew stronger with each tale he heard about Dombi. Finally, unable to resist, he decided he had to see Dombi for himself. The merman found a shallow part of the river where he could watch Dombi without being seen. He stayed hidden there for many days, watching her from a distance as she went about her daily life. She would draw water from the river, care for her children, and spend time with Zoring. The merman's fascination with her grew more intense with every passing day. He couldn't stop thinking about her beauty. Finally, one bright morning, he saw Dombi coming to bathe in the river. His curiosity turned into obsession, and he decided that he had to have her. As Dombi bathed in the river, the merman emerged from the depths, his webbed hands grabbing her around the waist before she could even react. In an instant, he dragged her under the water. Dombi struggled, but the merman was strong, and the river's current only made it harder for her to escape. The merman spoke to her softly, his voice echoing through the water. "You are the most beautiful woman I have ever seen, Dombi," he said. "No one should possess you but me. Come with me to my home beneath the river." Dombi, terrified and struggling to breathe, tried to reason with him. She had heard stories of mermen and mermaids as a child, how they could trap people in their underwater realms, keeping them alive but far from their families. She pleaded with the merman to let her go, but he was firm. "You are mine now," he said, "and I will never let you go." Back on the riverbank, Dombi's eldest daughter, a little girl, watched in horror as her mother was pulled underwater. Holding her baby sister tightly on her back, she froze, unsure of what to do. "Mother!" she cried out, hoping for an answer, but the waters were still. She couldn't see anything. She called out again, her voice full of fear and worry. "Please come back, Mother. The baby is crying." To her surprise, Dombi's head surfaced for just a moment, held tightly by the merman's strong arms. She looked at her daughter with tearful eyes. "Please let me nurse my child," she begged. The merman hesitated, then reluctantly allowed her to rise above the water. Dombi quickly nursed her baby, trying to comfort her little one, whose cries grew softer with each sip. Dombi spoke gently to her daughter, urging her to return home and take care of her sister. But the little girl's face was filled with confusion, unable to understand what had just happened. At home, Zoring grew worried when Dombi did not return by nightfall. He sent their daughter to the river, hoping she had gone to gather water or wash. When the girl returned with her story of what she had seen, Zoring was both shocked and terrified. He immediately rushed to the river, following his daughter's footsteps. From behind a large rock, he watched. His heart pounded as he saw Dombi's body surface, her upper half emerging from the water, while the merman still held her tightly. Filled with rage and sorrow, Zoring could not bear to see his wife in such a helpless state. He clenched his fists and swore to save her. That night, Zoring sharpened his milra, a double-edged sword, under the moonlight. The following day, he set out to rescue his beloved Dombi, no matter the cost. When the sun rose, Zoring ordered his daughter to call for Dombi once more. As she did, Zoring hid in the shadows, ready to strike. When Dombi's body rose above the water again, Zoring acted quickly. He grabbed her wrist and with all his strength, plunged his sword into the water. The merman recoiled, startled by the gleam of the blade. Terrified, he released Dombi, and Zoring pulled her out of the water, his arms strong and steady. He held her close, his heart swelling with relief, but the joy was short-lived. The merman, humiliated and furious, swore revenge. He retreated into the deep waters, calling upon sea serpents, crabs, and other river creatures to help him. Together, they began to dig a tunnel beneath the riverbed, a tunnel that would flood Zoring's home and destroy everything he loved. As a powerful storm approached, Zoring had a strange dream. A water spirit appeared before him and warned him of the merman's plan. "The merman will strike soon," the spirit said. "Take your family to the Dura Hills, where you will be safe." But Zoring, confident in his strength and the safety of the river, didn't believe the spirit's warning. He chose to stay home, believing the river would not harm him. That night, as the storm raged, Zoring and his family slept peacefully, unaware of the danger creeping beneath the surface. The storm grew fiercer that night, with dark clouds swirling above like a giant's anger. Zoring stood by the river, his heart pounding in his chest. He wondered if he had made the right choice, but it was too late to turn back now. The wind howled like a wild animal, and the rain slammed against the earth. The sound of something strange came from deep beneath the ground, like whispers, almost calling his name. Zoring froze, his skin crawling, but he shrugged it off, thinking it was just the storm. Deep under the river, the merman's plan was unfolding. He had called upon the dark creatures of the water, the sea serpents, crabs, and fish, ready to carry out his revenge. The riverbed began to shake violently, as if the earth itself was waking up in fury. Zoring didn't see it coming. He didn't know how close danger was. By dawn, the river had claimed everything, leaving nothing behind but the haunting memory of the past. By morning, when the villagers came to check on them, they found only emptiness. Zoring's house was gone. The large peepal tree by his home had disappeared. All that was left was a vast, shining lake, its waters shimmering in the morning sunlight. The merman's revenge had been fulfilled. The lake, now known as Dombi Wari, or Dombi's Pond, still exists in the Imangiri Forest Reserve in South Garo Hills. Its waters are still and mysterious, hiding the memory of Dombi and Zoring. The Achik people continue to tell this story to their children, reminding them of the dangers of pride, obsession, and the power of love. The tale of Dombi and Zoring lives on in the hearts of all who hear it, a reminder of the tragedy and the lessons it carries. And so, the story of Dombi and Zoring remains in the hills, carried by the wind and the waves, forever echoing through time. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a new story.